Today we're tackling a heavy subject: real-life tragedies caught on camera. These are moments that shock the world, leaving a lasting impact on history and those who witness them. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The stories ahead are graphic and deeply disturbing. We'll explore 5 instances where real deaths were filmed, examining the people involved and the aftermath. This isn't about sensationalism, but about understanding the reality of life and death. If you're sensitive to these topics, consider skipping this video. For those continuing, let's proceed with respect and caution. Our first story is one of the most shocking and unforgettable moments in the history of live television. It's a story that not only stunned viewers across the nation, but also forced the world to confront the ethical boundaries of journalism and the unpredictable nature of live broadcasts. In January 1987, Pennsylvania State Treasurer R. Bud Dwyer, a respected public official, found himself at the center of a political and legal storm. After being convicted of bribery in a high-profile case, Dwyer faced the prospect of a long prison sentence, the loss of his career, and public disgrace. With his reputation in tatters and his options running out, he made a decision that would shock the world. On a cold winter morning, Dwyer called a press conference at the state capitol. The room quickly filled with journalists, photographers, and television crews, all expecting a routine resignation speech. The air was thick with anticipation, as reporters speculated about what Dwyer might say and how he would explain himself to the public. Instead of a simple resignation, Dwyer began to read a lengthy, emotional statement. He passionately insisted on his innocence, maintaining that he had been wrongfully convicted. He criticized the justice system, calling it deeply flawed and unfair, and spoke directly to the people of Pennsylvania, pleading for understanding and compassion. As the minutes ticked by, the tension in the room grew almost unbearable. Dwyer's words became more personal and heartfelt. He handed out several envelopes, one addressed to his wife, another to the governor, and a third containing his organ donor card. Each envelope seemed to carry the weight of his final wishes, and the journalists present began to sense that something was terribly wrong. Then, in a moment that would be replayed and analyzed for decades, Dwyer reached into a manila envelope and produced a revolver. The room erupted in confusion and fear as the reality of the situation became clear. Chaos broke out instantly. Reporters and staff members shouted and pleaded with Dwyer to put the gun down. Some tried to rush forward to stop him, while others froze in shock, unable to process what was happening. Despite the panic, Dwyer remained eerily calm, his voice steady as he tried to maintain control of the room. He warned everyone to leave the room if they couldn't handle what was about to happen. Some people scrambled for the exits, while others stayed, transfixed by the unfolding tragedy. The sense of dread was overwhelming as everyone realized they were witnessing something irreversible. With the cameras still rolling, capturing every second, Dwyer took his own life in front of the stunned audience. The shocking act was broadcast live, sending shockwaves through newsrooms and living rooms across the country. The footage aired in real time, traumatizing viewers and igniting a fierce national debate about the responsibilities of the media. Many questioned whether such graphic events should ever be shown on television, and if the relentless pursuit of breaking news had gone too far. For those who were present in the room, the trauma was deep and lasting. Many journalists struggled with guilt and shock for years afterward. For the field of journalism, it was a turning point, a moment that forced news organizations to reconsider their ethics, their responsibilities, and the impact their coverage could have on the public. Dwyer's tragic death remains a haunting reminder of the immense power and peril of live broadcast. It is a story that continues to be studied in journalism schools and debated by ethicists, a cautionary tale about the intersection of personal despair and public spectacle. The events of that day forever changed the boundaries of news coverage, leaving behind questions that still resonate. How far should the media go in pursuit of a story? And what is the true cost of witnessing tragedy unfold in real time? Our next tragedy unfolded during what began as a routine live news segment in 2015, a day that started like any other for the team at WDBJ7 in Virginia. The newsroom buzzed with the usual energy, producers and anchors preparing for another morning of local coverage, unaware that they were about to become part of a story that would shock the nation. Reporter Allison Parker and cameraman Adam Ward were on assignment, interviewing Vicki Gardner of the local Chamber of Commerce at a peaceful lakeside location. The segment was meant to highlight community development, a feel-good story for viewers just starting their day, but in an instant, the calm was shattered. Suddenly, gunshots rang out on live TV, echoing through the broadcast, and into the homes of unsuspecting viewers. The attack was as swift as it was shocking, leaving no time for anyone to react. The camera tumbled to the ground, its lens capturing a blur of chaos and confusion before the feed abruptly cut away. For a few agonizing moments, viewers and colleagues alike were left in stunned silence, unsure of what had just happened. News soon broke that both Parker and Ward had been killed in the attack. The gunman, a disgruntled former colleague, had targeted them deliberately. In a disturbing twist, he filmed the attack himself and posted the footage online, compounding the horror for their loved ones and the public. The killer's use of social media amplified the tragedy, turning what might have remained a local story into a viral nightmare. Within minutes, graphic footage and news of the shooting spread across the internet, reaching millions and sparking outrage and grief worldwide. Vicky Gardner, the interviewee, survived the attack but was gravely wounded. The incident left the journalism community deeply shaken, forcing reporters everywhere to confront the dangers they face simply by doing their jobs. Vigils and protests erupted, with journalists and supporters demanding greater protections and respect for those who bring us the news. In the aftermath, newsrooms across the country began to reevaluate their security protocols. Conversations about the ethics of broadcasting violence and the responsibilities of both media outlets and social platforms took on new urgency. How could such tragedies be prevented, and what role should technology play in the coverage and spread of violence? Security briefings became more common, and many stations invested in new safety measures for their field crews. The attack forced a reckoning within the industry, as journalists grappled with the balance between public service and personal risk. The on-air murders of Allison Parker and Adam Ward remain a chilling example of how technology can magnify tragedy, broadcasting violence in real time and leaving a permanent mark on all who witnessed it. Their story is a stark warning about the power and the peril of live television in the digital age. For viewers, the event was a shocking intrusion of violence into the safety of their homes, a reminder that tragedy can strike anywhere, at any time. The collective trauma was felt not just by those who knew the victims, but by anyone who watched the news that day. The loss of Parker and Ward is a somber reminder of the risks journalists face in pursuit of the truth. Their colleagues, friends, and families continue to honor their memory, advocating for safer working conditions and a more responsible approach to sharing sensitive content. Behind every headline, there are real people and real loss. The tragedy at Smith Mountain Lake endures as a testament to the courage of journalists and the human cost that sometimes comes with telling the world's stories. February 18, 2001 was supposed to be a celebration for NASCAR fans. Dale Earnhardt Sr., the Intimidator, was protecting his team's lead in the final lap of the Daytona 500. A minor collision sent his car into the wall at over 160 miles per hour. To viewers, it looked survivable, until the silence lingered. Safety crews rushed in, but Earnhardt never emerged. The broadcast captured the growing dread as the reality set in. Hours later, NASCAR confirmed his death, devastating the racing world. Earnhardt's loss led to sweeping safety reforms, mandatory head restraints, safer barriers, and redesigned cockpits. For fans, the moment shattered the illusion of invincibility. It was a public tragedy, witnessed by millions, that forever changed the sport. Earnhardt's legacy lives on in the safety of today's drivers, but for those who watched, the memory of that day is unforgettable. It was the day NASCAR lost its greatest icon. Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, was a global icon known for his fearless love of wildlife. With his trademark khaki shorts and infectious enthusiasm, he brought the wonders of the animal kingdom into millions of homes around the world. Irwin's boundless energy and genuine passion for conservation made him a beloved figure, not just in Australia, but across the globe. He inspired countless people to care about animals and the environment, making wildlife education both thrilling and accessible. In 2006, while filming a documentary series on the breathtaking Great Barrier Reef, Irwin and his crew set out to capture the beauty and diversity of marine life. The reef, teeming with vibrant coral and exotic creatures, was the perfect backdrop for Irwin's adventurous spirit. On that fateful day, he approached a stingray for what was meant to be a routine shot, something he had done countless times before. But in a tragic twist of fate, the usually docile stingray suddenly lashed out. Its sharp barb struck Irwin in the chest, fatally piercing his heart. The accident was as shocking as it was rare. Stingrays are not typically aggressive, and such incidents are almost unheard of. In an instant, the world lost one of its most passionate wildlife advocates. The entire incident was captured on camera by his loyal crew, who had worked alongside Irwin for years. However, out of deep respect for Steve and his family, the footage was never released to the public. The decision was made to protect his dignity and to remember him for his life's work, not his final moments. News of Irwin's sudden death sent shockwaves around the world. Fans and fellow conservationists alike were stunned. The man who seemed invincible, who had faced crocodiles and venomous snakes with a smile, was gone. Vigils were held, and tributes poured in from every corner of the globe. At the Australia Zoo, the place Irwin called home, thousands gathered to pay their respects. The zoo became a living tribute to his legacy, filled with memories of his tireless work and the animals he loved. His family, especially his wife Terry and their children, vowed to continue his mission of wildlife conservation. Irwin's children, Bindi and Robert, have grown into passionate conservationists themselves. Through their work at the zoo and in the media, they inspire new generations to respect and protect the natural world, carrying forward their father's message with pride and dedication. Steve Irwin's untimely death is a sobering reminder of the unpredictability and power of nature, even for those who dedicate their lives to understanding it. No matter how experienced or knowledgeable, the wild always holds an element of risk, and Irwin's story is a testament to both the beauty and the danger of the natural world. The choice to keep the final footage private was a deeply personal one, honoring not just Steve's memory, but also the wishes of his loved ones. It serves as a reminder that behind every public figure is a family deserving of privacy and respect. Steve Irwin's passion for wildlife lives on in every animal saved, every child inspired, and every conservation effort sparked by his legacy. His infectious enthusiasm continues to remind us all to respect the wild and cherish the wonders of our planet. The world mourned his loss, but his impact endures. From Australia to the farthest corners of the earth, people remember Steve Irwin not just for his daring adventures, but for his unwavering commitment to making the world a better place for all living things. The crocodile hunter's final adventure became a lesson in both wonder and caution, a powerful legacy that continues to inspire awe, respect, and a deep love for the natural world. January 28, 1986, America watched as the Space Shuttle Challenger launched, carrying teacher Krista McAuliffe and 6 astronauts. 73 seconds after liftoff, the shuttle exploded live on television. The fiery disaster stunned millions, including schoolchildren watching their teacher's dream turn to tragedy. The broadcast captured confusion, then horror, as debris rained down and hope vanished. All 7 crew members perished. Investigations revealed a failed O-ring, compromised by cold weather, as the cause. The Challenger disaster halted the shuttle program for years and shattered national confidence. President Reagan's address that night tried to comfort a grieving nation. The footage became one of the most replayed and haunting images of the 20th century. Challenger's loss was a lesson in the risks of exploration and the courage of pioneers. For those who watched, it was a moment of collective trauma. The tragedy forever changed space travel, and the way we remember its heroes. It remains a powerful reminder of both ambition and vulnerability. We've reached the end of this difficult journey. These stories are more than headlines. They're real people whose final moments became public. Let's honor their memories and extend sympathy to their families. If you're struggling after watching, please reach out for support. Your well-being matters. Thank you for joining us and approaching this topic with respect. Stay safe, be kind, and we'll see you next time.